Every day when I wake up in the morning, I see the sky and I think about the things that you've made. All the beauty and your glory is showing, yeah. It never bores me to look at the ocean. The waves are crashing, the water spraying up in my face. I look above and all the seagulls are soaring, yeah. We've got to overcome the darkness, so we don't get caught in the middle, between the hopeful and the heartless. So, hello, good day, good morning, I just can't stop smiling, because today is a brand new day, and all the darkness and the pain is just fading behind me. Oh Lord, what a beautiful day. All the planets surround me, the way they orbit just boggles my mind, the way the sun keeps on shining, yeah. We got to overcome the darkness, so we don't get caught in the middle, between the hopeful and the heartless. So, hello, good day, good morning, I just can't stop smiling, because today is a brand new day, and all the darkness and the pain is just fading behind me. Oh Lord, what a beautiful day. There's nothing to fear, it'll be okay. It's the day that the Lord has made. It's the day that the Lord has made. There's nothing to fear, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's the day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has it's made. The day that the Lord has made. That the Lord has made. So, hello, good day, good morning, I just can't stop smiling, because today is a brand new day, and all the darkness and the pain is just fading behind me. Oh Lord, what a beautiful day.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live with Doug. We are thinking through God's Word together. Glad that you are with us on this beautiful day. Wherever you are, it is a beautiful day. Why? Because the Lord Jesus made this day. And He is reigning, He is ruling, so turn off the news, don't check your 401k, don't listen to all the nonsense about how awful things are. Oh, there's some stuff that need to change. There's some things that can still get better, a lot better, right? It's not all rose petals and puppy dogs or whatever, but it's a good day. So before we dive into Isaiah, let us remind ourselves and everyone who's around you, say it out loud. I'm going to say my part, you say your part, and let's remind ourselves and let's rejoice because He is worthy. So this is the day the Lord has made. I hope you are rejoicing, and I hope you are glad in this day. So we are in Isaiah. We're in this beautiful, amazing section, the servant songs. We're looking at the first one, Isaiah 42, and I want to remind you of the context where we looked at what we looked at yesterday, and then we will move forward a little further. So at the end of 41, God says, I brought good news to Zion. I told them good news, but nobody's telling it. No one else is sharing it. The Jews are failing to declare all the things God has been promising. They're down, they're beaten down, they're enslaved, they're discouraged, and God has told them this is not the end of the story, but they're not telling anybody. So God is going to send someone who is going to bring good news, this one called the servant or His servant. 42 verse 1, behold my servant, God says, whom I uphold. my chosen one, in whom my soul delights. Now, I just have to stop there for a minute. I just finished in our School of Theology, New Covenant School of Theology. I finished teaching the Gospel of John, and over again, Jesus talked about how he and his Father are one, and he only does what his Father gives him to do. Right? His meat and his drink, everything that matters to him is to obey his Father, to please his Father. And he says things like, you, Father, have glorified me. Glorify me again the way I had your glory before. And we looked yesterday at how the voice out of heaven, when Jesus was baptized, said, this is my Son, in whom I am well pleased. On the Mount of Transfiguration, this is my Son. Listen to him. He's the one in whom I am well pleased. The Father delights in his Son, Jesus. And the Son, Jesus, delights in his Father. Well, God predicted this centuries before the fact. This, my servant, the one I'm upholding, the one I'm holding fast. And my soul delights in this one that I've chosen. I've put my Spirit upon him, and he will bring forth justice to the nations. That's a cry of my heart. Is it a cry of yours? Lord, bring justice to the nations, that people would act rightly, that his kingdom would come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. May that be the case. This one who's coming, this servant, he won't cry out or raise his voice. He won't make his voice heard in the street. He's not going to be, on Twitter, moving and shaking the masses to respond to him. He's not going to come with that kind of pomp and circumstance. And he didn't, did he? He came very, very humbly, very lowly. Picked 12 men to follow him around and learn from him, but he didn't raise a big outcry. There were moments, of course, but generally speaking, he didn't come with a big display. And he's going to use anyone and everyone. He's not going to simply seek the strong and the mighty to build his kingdom. No, a bruised reed he won't break. A dimly burning wick he won't extinguish. Right? He's not going to snuff you out if you're not a huge fire. He'll find something for you to do. And he will faithfully bring forth justice. There it is again. He will not be disheartened or crushed. Think of all the opportunities Jesus had to be crushed and discouraged and disheartened. Betrayed by his closest friends. The people he came to save rejected him. The Romans mocked him. Pilate, who do you think you are, Jesus? Don't you know I have the power to set you free, and I have the power to have you executed? And Jesus says, yeah, you've only got authority because my Father in heaven has given it to you. Go ahead, do your thing, Pilate. But you're not ultimately the one in charge here. He will not be disheartened or crushed until he has established justice on the earth. It's what he's doing, friends. It's what he is doing. I know it doesn't look like it. It doesn't. On so many levels, it doesn't look like it, but he is. It's what the scripture says. The wicked will not get away with it forever. Our governments will not always be led by corrupt people. We've seen glimpses in history of good kings, good leaders. It will come again. Coastlands will wait expectantly for his law. Jesus says, go into all the world, go into the nations, make disciples in all the nations, baptizing them, teaching them to obey all that I commanded. If I were a missionary, if I were an overseas missionary, I think this is a place I would camp right here. Jesus is going to work. The servant is going to work. He's not going to be disheartened or crushed. He's going to work until he's established justice in the earth. And the coastlands are waiting expectantly. If you're a missionary right now, the coastlands, the nations, all the peoples all over the earth, they are waiting for you to come declare the news of this servant. Well, that's how far we got yesterday. Let's pick it up here in verse 5. Thus says God the Lord. And who is this God? Who is this Lord? He's the one who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and its offspring, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk in it. This is the creator God, right? The heavens, as you look up into the stars in the sky, and again, I just fascinated by all these visuals we have of the Webb telescope, that new ultra powerful telescope, the most powerful we've ever had, and the galaxies that it's able to see, and the clarity of planets and far off stars. God made all of those, right? We talked about this in an earlier passage. God names them all. Every single star out there has a name. And God will call them out tonight. Right here, it's sun is shining, so it's daytime here where I am. Some of you, it might be nighttime, but when the stars come out at night, God is the one who leads them all out. Says, all right, let's go back to your places. And he names them all. He created the heavens. He stretched them out. He spread out the earth and its offspring. Now, that's an interesting term here. The Hebrew is something like all that comes from it. So it would include vegetation and the offspring of animals, but it's really looking at everything the earth produces. God is the one who spreads out everything the earth produces. We saw this earlier in chapter 28. In fact, I think, let me just pull this up for you. Yeah, 28, verse 23, it says, "Give ear and hear my voice, listen and hear my words. Does the farmer plow continually to plant seed? Does he continually turn and harrow the ground?" No, he doesn't just turn the dirt, right? Does he not level its surface and sow dill and scatter cumin and plant wheat in rows and barley in its place and rye within its area? In other words, the imagery here is the farmer doesn't just go out and hoe and turn the dirt, but he then levels it out and he throws seed here and throws seed there. Why? For God instructs him and teaches him properly. And then he goes on and talks about how, the farmer doesn't do this, but he does do that kind of thing. The idea is God has created this world full of secrets, full of things that were previously unknown, and now the Lord is teaching. He's teaching us how this world works. And for centuries, millennia even, mankind was discovering how water and photosynthesis and fertilizer and weeding, how agriculture works. Right? So we can raise more crops and food, and we get better. The technology gets better. And such that today we're in a place where, just one farmer can farm huge amounts of land using the machinery and, I might add, the fossil fuel energy of coal and gas and oil, which we need to thrive. Don't listen to the green agenda nonsense that's trying to crush humanity. We're not killing the world with ozone, carbon dioxide. That's all nonsense. Do your research. It's all an agenda to crush humanity. No, all of these are technological advances. We have learned, the Lord has taught farmers how to farm huge amounts of land so that we can feed so many more people. We could actually rid the world of hunger if the government and the green agenda would get out of the way, and if people would actually just free technology to continue to grow and learn. In fact, farmers are able to do that so much that people are able to do other things. This morning, I did what I do every morning, which I love to do. I took a long, hot shower. And we're at the time of year right now where, I love it. It's cold enough in the nighttime. We have a fan in our window, and it's pulling in the cold air. And so I get in the shower, and there's cold air sweeping through the room, but then that hot water is drilling down my back. And I think, this is fantastic. I have almost an endless supply of hot water down my neck and back while the cold air is sweeping through. It's a great contrast. How much do you think the people of Isaiah's day would give to take a long, hot shower? For most of them, it was inconceivable this could ever happen. And the fact that I'm talking to you right now, and someone has determined, the Lord has taught us, and people have learned it, that this combination of ones and zeros can be shaped and formed in such a way that those of you watching can see a high-def video as I'm talking to you, and those who are listening via podcast can hear it across the world as I'm talking into this microphone. The technology, the advancement we have in so many areas, food supply. Our freezers are full of food. Our fridges are full of food. Our pantries are full of food. We have forced air, heat. We have, I go on and on and on. The Lord has done all of that. The earth and all that comes out of it, all the produce, that's all. God did all that. And he's teaching us more and more, and we've only just begun to learn. Oh, the possibilities. He's the one who gives breath to the people on the earth and spirit to those who walk in it. God did not just make you alive and now you're on your own. If you're walking on this earth, it's because God has given you a spirit, an ability. He's given you life. He's given you breath. He made all things. He's in control of all things. He is active. You hear all of these things are active in what he's doing. It says, I am the Lord. I called you, capital Y, servant. I called you in righteousness. This is the same phrasing, if you remember back earlier, where he's talking about the conqueror who's coming. Is it at the beginning of 41? Yep. Back here, he calls the coastlands, the nations, to listen to him and bring forward their argument for their idols. Remember, we talked about that? And he says, I'm the one who has aroused one from the east, whom he calls in righteousness to his feet. And this is this conqueror who's raised up from the east, but he's coming from the north, and he's going to come down and be the instrument of God to conquer all the lands. So God says, I called him in righteousness. He is my instrument to do my work. But now this servant, God says, I have called you in righteousness. This is a different one from the conqueror. We're going to be told eventually that conqueror from the north is Cyrus. This servant is Jesus. I called you in righteousness. I will also hold you by the hand. I've got you. I've got this servant, and I'm going to take care of him, and I'm going to lead him and watch over you, protect you. And I will appoint you as a covenant to the people, as a light to the nations. You see, the vision is far bigger than Israel. When my servant comes, I'm going to care for him, protect him, lead him. He is going to be a covenant to the world. Now, you know what this is talking about, don't you? This is the new covenant. The new covenant that Jesus inaugurated at the Last Supper when he took the bread and the wine. He said, this is no longer about a Passover. This is no longer about releasing people from Egypt and commemorating God's Exodus, leading the people in the Exodus. No. This is a new covenant I'm making with you and all who believe across the entire world, baptizing them, teaching them all that I commanded, Jesus said. It's a new covenant. God predicted this centuries before the fact. The servant would come and he would be the covenant to the peoples. Now, he's not actually a covenant. He's a man, but he will make the covenant. To open blind eyes, to bring out prisoners from the dungeon and those who dwell in darkness from the prison. Now, Jesus showed up and he started healing the blind, didn't he? But obviously there's a deeper meaning here. Remember, blindness throughout Isaiah has been his people, God's people, who have eyes, but they can't see. They can't see the truth right in front of them. They can't see what God is doing. They don't have eyes to really discern. They don't have hearts and minds to understand his deliverance, his salvation, to trust him. But this servant is going to come and he's going to open blind eyes. In fact, I've got so many stories in my mind from the Gospel of John because I just got finished teaching it. Jesus says to the Pharisees, you think you see. You think you know what is what. Therefore, you're actually blind and you're going to be condemned. If you were blind, and if you admitted you were blind, then I would give you eyes to see and you would not be guilty. Right? The Pharisees became arrogant and self-sufficient and self-righteous, just like their forefathers back in Isaiah's day. But the blind who acknowledge their blindness, those who come to him humbly and say, Lord, forgive me, God opens their eyes. He brings out prisoners from their dungeons, and those who are in prison, those who are in darkness, he delivers them. That's what Jesus came to do. If you are a Christian, that was you. You were blind. You were in the dungeon. You were imprisoned. You were enslaved to your sin. And Jesus gave you eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to understand. And he led you out of that prison. God goes on, I am the Lord, that is my name. Yahweh, that is my name. I will not give my glory to another, nor my praise to graven images. He's been saying this all the way through this passage. Remember, come, let's call. He calls the court to order in 41, right? You who worship these idols, go ahead. Prove yourself. Show me that these idols have foreknowledge. They know what's coming down the pike, that they know the future. They can determine the future. In fact, let them do anything. Let your idols do anything, good or evil, so we can fear them. And of course, it's all mockery. These idols, they're handmade by man. They can't do anything. God says, I won't give my glory to them. I'm not going to let the idols have the last word here. My people, the Jews, they've been given over to idolatry. The whole world in Isaiah's day given over to idolatry. Everyone outside of the Jews, pagans, heathens, all of them. God says, I will not give my glory to them. I'm not going to let my praise be hijacked by these wood and stone no-gods that some men made. No, the servant is going to come and take the glory of the one true God to the nations, and the nations are going to rejoice in the servant, in God. It's going to happen. Behold, God says, the former things have come to pass. All those things, the conqueror coming, Babylon coming, Assyria coming right to the doorstep of the Jews in Jerusalem, but then they are pushed away. But then Nebuchadnezzar comes and all of that, everything God predicted, the former things came to pass. I am the one true God. I've told you the end from the beginning. I told you before it happens. So all of those things came to pass. Now I declare new things. Before they spring forth, I proclaim them to you. I've been right about everything else. When I tell you the servant is coming and he's going to bring justice to the nations, you can bank on it. When I say the servant is coming and he's going to be a covenant to the people and a light to the nations, and blind eyes are going to see and prisoners are going to come out of prison, you can bank on it, because I am God and I am not going to let wickedness, idolatry, injustice have the last word. I'm telling you new things before they happen. And what does he want as a response? Sing. Sing to the Lord a new song. Don't sing the old song. Don't sing the old song of the Jews, the old covenant, the law, which brought condemnation, the law that could not give sight to the blind, the law of Moses, which could not give hearing to the deaf It could not release the captives. All the law did was condemn, condemn, condemn. God says, I have a new thing I'm going to do. I'm sending a servant. Not just to the Jews, but to the whole world. It's a new song I want you to sing. It's interesting that we have, in some settings, almost this this resistance to new music. Right? Oh, the old hymns. The old hymns that are 200 years old or 400 years old. You know, every song the church sings was new at one point. Now, we should be opposed to nothing but trite, meaningless songs, right? Songs that just stir the emotions but don't have any real content. Songs that are bad theology. Songs that are really no different than you hear on pop radio in terms of their lyrical content. All right, yeah, there's good reason to resist being just caught up in some kind of emotionalism. But a song is not bad because it's new. We should constantly be writing new songs to remind us of these great truths. God says, sing a new song. I'm telling you new things. Now, it's not new for us as Christians. We know how this ends. We know the story. But he's telling his people, the Jews, and all who will listen, sing a new song because I'm doing something new. Not the old covenant, not the Jewish way. I'm doing something new. Sing his praise from the end of the earth. This is not simply located in Israel. No, God's plan is far bigger than the Jews. You who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you sing. You islands, those who dwell on them, you sing. Take this message of this servant across the world so they will all sing. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voices, the settlements where Kedar inhabits. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing aloud. Let them shout for joy from the tops of the mountains. Let them give glory to the Lord and declare his praise in the coastlands. Can you hear it? Can you hear the whole world singing the new song of this servant who's come? Christian, you know the story. You know this song. It's Jesus. He is that servant. He is opening blind eyes. He is freeing prisoners. His praises are being declared across the world. How can we not be joy-filled, singing people? Sing. Mike says, hot issue. Which one? I don't know how far behind you are if you're caught up, but which issue are you talking about, Mike? Oh, we've got to be joyful people. Do you remember when Peter says that your hope should be so obvious to unbelievers that they marvel at your hope? When there's persecution, when there's trial, when there's opposition, when the government is against you, when it seems like the majority are against you, and he says, always be ready to give a reason for the hope that you have, to defend the hope that you have. We kind of get that wrong, that he's not saying always evangelize. That's not the point in Peter's writing there. He's saying that as you Christians live your lives of hope and joy, it should arouse a response from those around you. They should be saying, how can you be so hopeful? Don't you see there are people against you? Don't you see there are people who want to persecute you because of your faith, because of your devotion to Jesus? And Peter says, always be ready to defend why you have hope. And give an answer, give an apology. That's the Greek word. Give an apology, a defense. Not apology like, I'm sorry, but a defense of why you have hope. Well, what is it that's going to provoke someone to question us about our hope? we walk around as hopeful people, as joyful people, singing people, saying, the government doesn't win. The unbelievers don't win. The enemies don't win. Jesus is crushing his enemies. That's why I'm singing, because I know how this turns out. Mike says, music and singing, hot topic, hot issue. Yeah, sadly, it's become a divisive issue, but it doesn't need to be. Certainly, we must be joy-filled singing people. Do you hum a song through your house, through the halls at work, in the neighborhood? Do you have a smile on your face? We know the end of the story. Even if we disagree on how the end occurs. I know we have a difference of opinion on people watching this and listening later. There's all, right? We understand these prophecies a little different ways. Okay, so we're still working through that. We're still trying to sort out what does it look like between now and the end. But we all agree on the end, right? One way or the other, and one time or another, Jesus crushes all of his enemies, including death. Death is the last enemy. Resurrection is coming. How can we not be a joy-filled people? Sing, smile. What is our strength according to the scripture? The joy of the Lord. Joy. That's our strength. How do we stand and fight against those who want to take us down? We stand in strength. Yeah, we put on the armor. Faith, hope, trust, truth. Those things are all hopeful, joyful things. That's the command God gives as he predicts this servant who is coming, who is going to conquer the world. The command he gives is sing. So friends, sing a song today. Sing a song to the Lord. And let the joy of the Lord fill the halls of everyone around you. That's all I have for today. Have a great day. Sing. And tomorrow we'll come back and continue to walk through the book of Isaiah. Take care.